We're going to talk about what lag advantage looks like in Naruto Storm connections and in Naruto Storm games. Now, this is, I believe, the second patch, but I'm not entirely sure. We'll see. He has a yellow bar connection. We have a yellow bar connection together. I'm on a 5-game win streak. You can see this is before I was leaving games, right? I have a nice green check mark emoji in the bottom left, and he's got a red one, and he's leaving. And I really don't care. He didn't leave on me, and I don't have a problem with it. I'm not going to judge him for it. But it was shortly after this that I started leaving games, and basically for 10 to 13 years, I took a couple years break, right, when Storm 4 came out. But for quite a few years, I never left games ever, pretty much, right? Maybe 1 in 1,000 or something like that. I always advocated to stay, but something happened for about 2 or 3 week period, about 4 weeks ago, where I started leaving games. And it has to do with lag advantage and lag disadvantage, and it doesn't have to be with, it doesn't have to do with being a nice person or anything like that. I don't really care too much about that value. I do care about being a good person and trying to be kind, but I don't think you should be good and kind to people that are not good to you. I don't think you should necessarily be all that understanding to people that are not that understanding to you. I mean, you can try, but a lot of times you just don't get anywhere because people just want to win the argument. They don't care about actual goodness, which is finding the truth or getting closer to the truth, right, of things. So my highest order value for the most part is meaningful play, player expression, but before that, above that, meaningful play, and authentic play, and finding an authentic experience. And it's extremely difficult to do that in Storm games. So this is very interesting because I'm slowing it down, but this yellow bar, I'm actually saying feels like offline. So right away, there's this yellow bar fallacy, which we can talk about another time, but it essentially states that if you have a yellow bar, you have a bad connection. If you have a blue bar, you have a good connection. Most people that have the ability to critically think, most people that have the ability to watch back the videos and to point out both people's sides, so like imagine that you're the opponent and imagine you're yourself, and to keep watching back and to see what's happening to these people, right, from the other person's perspective, is that typically, they are experiencing things a little bit differently, right? So having this ability to empathize with others, having this ability to see things from the other person's perspective are not very easy things. They're not very, they're pretty difficult things to do. They're not necessarily intuitive, but like right there, you see that water wall, how I dashed his water wall right away? He's always going to be late, right? So what I'm saying in this first fight, we can talk about a lot of those things, but what I'm saying in this first fight is I'm playing like it's offline. And I think he has lag disadvantage, and I have lag advantage in this situation. I'm almost positive. So it's interesting. He got me there with that water wall. That's fine. But right again, I stopped his water wall. So that's 2 out of 3 water walls I stopped. That's already an advantage. It could be that I'm a lot better than this person, but I kind of doubt it. I mean, I could be, but that's not really the thing in question. People focus too much on, is somebody better than the other person or not, but they don't understand that a lot of times in most situations, the other player is not able to move. And personal testimonies don't really validate that at all. They do have an influence at some level, but most people are not aware whether there is like personal lag or lag advantage or lag disadvantage, even when they're playing. So this is just, was that a reset? That may have been, I'm not sure, but sometimes I get that reset and it's really good, but it's pretty tricky because they can get out of it. But we'll see. From what I can see here, right, mostly the person is just getting bodied. And I don't want to immediately say, hey, I'm just a lot better than that person. What I would like is the opportunity to prove that I'm better than that person. And if I have leg advantage and they have leg disadvantage, meaning the game is lagging more for them than it is for me, I really don't like that because the game is not authentic. The fight is not authentic. It's not really proving who's better or who's worse, right? So for me, I do like the winning and losing aspect, but only if it's authentic. So here you see, like, yeah, I just did all that to him, but I really think that I was kind of moving ahead of him. Meaning, whatever he's seeing on his screen, it's late for him to react to. For me, the only logical conclusion here, or the most logical conclusion, is that he's sitting there right? In this situation where I green barred him and he's just standing there, right? He's in this situation where he can't really react to me that much because of the leg advantage that I have over him. That's really what it comes down to, and that's probably the closest thing to the truth, right? So, yeah, like he whiffed an air combo there. He really wasn't able to do much. And then later on, you'll see, and now it's actually, I think, getting to the point where I'm starting to feel that yellow bar or that disc, that lag. So what I would say is before I had like a 9 out of 10 connection, and he probably has like a 6 out of 10 connection or something like that. And that variance, that difference of 3 points out of 10 or 30% gives me a lot better reaction time. Right? Like that move there where he flipped, like why would he do that? People don't do that. Like people with the BP that they have, like 18,000, 19,000 or more, they usually don't play like that, right? They usually don't just like act like a punching bag. And how do I know this? Because this has happened to me many times where I'm on the opposite end of this, where I have leg disadvantage. Like I'm perfecting him, right? And I'm wasting those subs, and he literally isn't able to fight back. Like he's literally just like a punching bag. And I think that this is him not having the frame rate data or the frames or, to actually move and do stuff. I think there's two elements there. One is you literally couldn't move if you wanted to that well. And then the other, like, look, the fact that I have 4 subs and he has 0, this has happened so many times in so many videos that I pointed out, right? That and he hasn't been fighting back at all. Most people would look at this and say, hey, I'm so good, this guy's so bad, I'm faster than him. Of course, it looks like I'm faster than him because the game has limited his reaction time, his movement, his speed, his frame rate data, all these types of things. And every situation is a little bit different, and it's very unique. Like, not all leg is the same. People have no clue and don't understand this, that not all leg is the same. But I can guarantee you here, the fact that I'm perfecting him and the fact that I wasted all his subs and he didn't waste any of mine shows that this is for sure leg disadvantage, right? And right there, I would say I got a leg spike finally. And you see there it is, the second leg spike. And it kind of all follows suit. And from this point on, I'm going to start to get hit by everything. So even though it was yellow bar, I was literally playing like it was a blue bar. So that's the yellow bar fallacy, is that sometimes yellow bars play like blue bars. And most of you know that, right? Some of you don't want to admit that, but most of you know that, even the ones that are, capping or lying about it or, whatever. A lot of people know about it, but they're just going to lie about it, right? For whatever reason, because it doesn't go against their value system, right? Or their disillusion. So there's that. But what happened here too is he's whiffing another air combo. That's a sign of lag usually, right? Unless you do something with it, like you turn it into a super dash or a spark dash. So the interesting thing here is he has been spamming Water Dragon. And has he? Yes, like if we're just looking at it, yes, he's spamming, but what you don't understand is he can't really do anything else because of the way that he has leg disadvantage. So technically, if you factor in the fact that he can just stand there and he can't do much, right? The fact that you're factoring in he's just summoning supports at random and they're not doing anything really at all, like his supports are getting no value. The fact that he's just comboing and mashing, it's not that he probably wants to do those things, right? This is somebody I don't know. This is somebody I don't care about. I'm just trying to talk about the truth because I've been in his situation. And I'm trying to point this out that clearly I can move better than him. It's possible that I am a better player than him, that I'm stronger than him, but that still doesn't matter. And it still doesn't prove anything in terms of there not being a leg advantage or leg disadvantage. Like those things are independent and different from each other. Both things can be true. Like, yes, I could be better than him, but he could still be having leg disadvantage and he still may not be able to fight back, right? So, it's really interesting. Like, I don't know when these fights took place. Oh, sorry. If it's 26K, then I know it's not on the newest patch. It's like on the second patch, right? So this is like probably a month ago or something like that. So yeah, okay. We know that. So interesting. He actually beat me in a round now because the leg switched around and it made it so that I basically ran into every Jitsu, every Water Dragon, and technically all the spam. But I don't really slight him because that's all he can really do in that situation. I hope most people understand that. I hope most people understood that I had leg advantage for a long time. I hope they see the point in which the leg advantage switched, right? And then all of a sudden I started losing. Some people will just say, "Oh, he adapted." I mean, not really. Like, how is he adapting if he's just spamming, first of all, right? That's fine. He could have adapted, but if he's adapting, but then now I've basically gotten options taken away from me, I've gotten my reaction time taken away from me. It's not really that he's adapting, it's that now I'm lagging so that he can react finally. That's more closer to the truth, right? So I think now here we start cooking a little bit here, and I think we start getting the leg advantage back. So this is my example. This is this may or may not be the example, but I've often talked about teeter-totter leg or back and forth leg. And that tends to happen here. This may be an example of it, and maybe we'll see it here. I think it is. Um, yeah, so I think a lot of times in this situation, the best thing you can do is just block. But what he opened up his guard by throwing a kunai or a explosive tag, I believe, or an item. And yeah, that one worked out for him, but the first one did not. So, but then he trapped us there with the earth splitting kick. And now we're just waiting for him to sub, and then that's pretty much it here. So yeah, what I think happens here is Boro saves me. And what I've said before is Boro is one of these supports that, like, Boro and Shikamaru are even better than Tamari in lag. They have higher lag resistance or are more lag proof. Now, this is also a term that I came up with and introduced and theorized. So many things I theorized, right? Like lag advantage, lag disadvantage. Lag proof, lag resistant, right? And it's a way to explain what's happening. A way to explain what's been happening since Storm 2, actually. And what I would say is, in the newest patch, this is harder to see, but it's still happening. It's more of a chameleon. But when you look at these things and you can identify what they are, now the guy's just in big trouble, right? So the Boro support, if you went back and looked, it worked in the lag. It would take a lot of lag, a lot of frame rate drop for him to stop working. It's even unclear if he even stops working in lag, and that's part of the reason why you see Boro played in meta teams, in ranked a lot. I know a lot of people don't like the support, but what you have to understand is the positive side of the support is that it actually allows you to play the game at some level competitively. That is a difficult pill to swallow for some people, but because it is lag resistant and has lag proof qualities, it allows for that. So even Tamari, I've noticed, I've used her a lot, so I know, there gets to a point where she's no longer lag resistant or lag proof. Boro, you can take him further into the lag before he stops working. I don't even know if I've ever seen him not work. He might actually, him and Shikamaru, like if you wanted to use a two-man team that just probably worked all the time, no matter what, they would probably work. But do they have a lot of team synergy? Do they have a high team synergy multiplier? I'm not sure. They definitely don't have the range, potentially. Maybe they do, but it's difficult. So what is lag advantage and what it looks like? Now you kind of see, look, he has one sub, I have four. It kind of at some point came back to me, right? Where he's just missing everything. He looks like a bad player, and I don't really think that he is. And even if he came on here and said, whatever, and gave a testimony saying, "Oh no, I'm on the phone," or "Oh no, I wasn't trying," or that doesn't really matter, because when I play Tagority, a friend of mine, we played over 4,000 times, even now when we play, sometimes I get it wrong. And I was like, "Oh wow, that was a good game." He's like, "Oh dude, I couldn't move, I was lagging." And I was like, "Oh," and then I went back and watched, I'm like, "Oh dude, my bad, I didn't mean to, you know, to assume that or say that, because it's true." So it's very difficult, even when you know all the signs and all that, you get carried away with your emotions, you get carried away with adrenaline, you get carried away with ego, the negative kind, not the positive kind. And it's very easy to basically not see the truth for what it is. So I'm here to say yet again, in many different examples and many different videos, I will keep posting that I had leg advantage over this guy. He was lagging more than me overall in the fight. But there were times where I got a lot of lag on my end, and we're probably about the same, or maybe I was a little bit lower. But overall, in the fight in the beginning and the end, he lagged a lot more than me, and there was times where it was offline for me. Whereas you can see he looks like he can't even play the game and doesn't know what he's doing.